Hey, Sally just joined us. We're going to go live. Let me invite her in.
Hi.
Hey, Sally, how are you? Welcome to my Move Well series. Happy to have Sally Rappeport with us today. I'm going to do a little introduction. I'm Tracie Matthews, Pilates master, trainer, and dynamic embodiment practitioner, and founder of Intuitive Motion Pilates. I specialize in working with clients suffering from chronic pain and injury recovery. Welcome to my Move Well video series on Instagram Live. Let me introduce Sally Rappeport. Sally Rappeport has been practicing acupuncture and East Asian herbal medicine since 1998. She has a master's degree in traditional Chinese medicine and has continued her education with many leaders in the Chinese medicine community. Recently, Sally with several esteemed colleagues founded the Shen Nung Society, and today Sally will be sharing with us her insights and thoughts on nurturing our bodies during seasonal transitions. So welcome again, Sally.
Yeah.
First, when we say seasonal transitions, that it simply means change of season, like fall to winter, winter to spring, spring to summer, right? Just for the person, I always try to make these, addressed to anyone, especially the people who might stumble on it and be like, what is this? And they were talking, kind of industry jargon and kind of, make it accessible to everyone. So is that correct?
Yes, that's basically correct. In Chinese medicine, we also think of being, one with the seasons, with the cycle of the seasons, and our bodies have to adjust. And transition times between seasons is the main time of adjustment. Of course, in our culture, we have artificial heat and air conditioning, makes it a little bit more complicated. But I think everyone knows it's like when you go outside from being in the dry heat inside and you have to deal with the change in humidity, or you go from air conditioning to the outside humidity in the summer, that your body is adjusting. And living with the seasons, so being conscious of that actually is really helpful, despite that we complexify it with our cooling and heating systems.
Yes, it's a lot to think about. So going on to the topic at hand, why is it important to nutritionally acknowledge the change of season for our bodies and minds?
Well, when your body is in this kind of adjustment place to the change in temperature and change in quality of what it's like to be in the environment, uh, it's like your body naturally craves other kinds of foods for many people. Now, if you have an underlying condition that makes you hot all the time, that you might not get as cold in the winter, but still underlying that, you want to eat more cooked food in the winter time uh, than you might in the summer, and that sort of thing. Uh, and then with these kind of changes that come between summer and fall and winter, you're adding in different kinds of warming spices and root vegetables and things like that.
So that kind of leads us into talking about the immune system. So how do the food choices we make in keeping with the seasonal transition help our immune system?
So from a Chinese medicine perspective and my perspective, uh, if you're eating salads all the time, all year round, your body doesn't have the same kind of preparation uh, to deal with the cold outside, because it's raw food. Your body has to like warm it up to break it down. in order to digest it and to get the full value from it. So by eating other kinds of foods, like cooked vegetables and root vegetables at this time of year, they're just being, some of them are just being harvested now. Those foods are really enriching for the whole body, for the chi, the life force of the body. And that is how you're going to support your immune system. You know, there are other things besides foods that support the immune system, but eating right with the seasons is incredibly helpful.
So, I mean, here we are in America, and we're very spoiled in that we can get salad all year round. That we have no limitations on what kind of food pretty much we can get, you know, in winter season, because we get it sent in from other parts of the state or world. But you're saying, so, but it's okay to have a salad in winter, or it's just, you know, or to limit it, or?
You know, I would say that most likely all of us have some salad in the winter. You know, it's not like it's forbidden food, but you want to limit it.
Okay.
Modify your diet as much as possible to be right with the seasons. And certainly, if there's a real cold spell, you don't want to eat a lot of salad. Or if for some reason you're stuck outside in the cold for a few hours with not being properly dressed, you want to come home and eat like nice, have a nice cup of cinnamon tea, or like tea with warming herbs in it, like cinnamon, cardamom, cumin,
So
that have those spices.
As the season started, you know, the first thing, as you know, fall was ushering in and it was starting to get chilly. The first thing I did was stock my freezer up with soups, and I made some hot cider. And right now, as we are doing this interview, we just had like 4 or 5 days of Indian summer.
Right.
So what happens when you get these hot spells? Like, it's just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to take a break from the soups when it's 70 degrees outside. But on the other hand, you're going to be surprised because one morning it's going to be 35 degrees. Even if it goes up to 70 degrees, it's going to be cold in the morning. You know, the temperature drops overnight and you go outside thinking, oh, it's going to be 70 today. But it's not like 70 in April or May. It's 70 in November, so it could be really chilly, and that's when you're likely to get sick, because all of a sudden your body is dressed for 70 degrees, but it's 35 or 40 in the morning, even if it's going to go up really warm. And so, you know, in Chinese medicine terms, you always have an extra layer with you. You always have a hat with you.
Yeah, I'm a part of the Prospect Park Track Club, and they, you know, like right now is run season. So, like, you know, are there any special tips for the runners who the serious runners, or even like novices? Not me, but they will go out, rain, sleet. You know, they go out on no matter what weather. They don't skip their runs. So what kind of nutritional immune boost would you give someone who is going to go weather the elements?
Let's see, for runners, it depends probably if they're doing long distance, how far they're running, that sort of thing. Because for sure, if you're doing a long run, you have to, you know, probably increase the amount of carbs or something like that you're eating to get through it. In terms of layers and that sort of thing, I think they should do. I think there's tons of layering runner's garb, and that's.
Oh yeah, no, I was just talking more about the food suggestions, like so the card and immune boosting, you know, because they're always out.
All right, so There are other foods that are really good for the immune system, such as some of the mushrooms. I know that there are people who are allergic to mushrooms, and so they can't eat them. But for those of you who are not, um, there are many mushrooms that are really, really high in polysaccharides, which are really good for your immune system. And if you can incorporate them in your diet, that's great. So, shiitake is the one that's most common, that people are most familiar with in terms of these immune boosting mushrooms. I mean, I don't know that white button mushrooms are that.
That was my next question. What about the white button mushrooms or the creminis and the portobellos? I think people know those.
I don't think that those are as high in polysaccharides, but
Okay.
the lion's mane and the turkey something, I can't think of what that one's called.
I don't know. I know oyster mushrooms and wait, did I lose you? I think I lost your audio. So we're just having a technical moment. So Sally doesn't have any audio at the moment. So we're gonna check and see. So I lost your audio. Oh, you can't hear me either. Let's see now if I can. Nope, I can't see her. It won't let me invite her. Oh, we're having technical difficulties. Please stand by. Transition. There you are.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay. Well, the good thing is we didn't give up. So we're back on with Sally Rappeport. We were talking about mushrooms when we had a little audio issue. So thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, so reishi mushrooms are another mushroom that's really good. So shiitake, lion's mane, the turkey, whatever it is. I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting. And the reishi are all really good for the immune system. Reishi also has the quality of being very calming. So for all of us in this crazy pandemic, that can be a really nice one. In addition, they make a lot of combos that
What's
are
that?
combinations of all the boosting mushrooms that you can take, and those tend to be more comprehensive in a certain way. So I think it's great to add them to your diet. And if you feel like you really need immune boosting, then I suggest that you could possibly take a mushroom supplement as well.
And so you also mentioned in conversation about pureeing root vegetables. Is that like making soups out of like butternut squash or?
Yeah, there's lots of ways you can eat the root vegetables, which are particularly good, nourishing, and warming for you in the fall and winter at this time of year. So I was thinking that I would mention, roasting. You can roast vegetables. You can cut them up into squares or slices and roast them in the oven with a little olive oil or canola oil or something like that, and garlic sometimes. Sometimes I add a little cinnamon, squashes, winter squashes, and sweet vegetables or other warming herbs, like roasting a cauliflower covered with cumin is just so delicious. Poured a little olive oil over it. That's really good for you roasting. So then with the pureeing, you can puree and make a soup. You could add broth to it, vegetable broth, chicken broth. Sometimes in the winter when I make my soups, I actually add the marrow bones to the soup. And then that draws out the marrow, which is really nourishing.
Yeah, the bone broth thing is something that I grew up with. One of my grandmother, she would make the Sunday dinner was an Italian traditional Italian Sunday dinner, and she'd make the homemade, sauce, or some people call it gravy, but she always would cook, a lamb shank in it.
Yeah.
And the lamb, would flavor the, but it was bone broth. It was bone broth tomato sauce, and I actually, every fall, like in the last few years, I kind of have gotten in the mood for it. So I just made it a few weeks ago. So,
Oh, yum.
but it's in line with your thinking. It's like the cold weather, making something bone broth to nourish our bodies with marrow, and you do. Oh, and I used, not to plug the Instant Pot, but I did use the Instant Pot, and
That's great.
and pressure cooked it while I went to the farmer's market. So it's really good.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic that the Instant Pots are really, really great. And I will admit that we bought one for like $35 at some discount place. Just like, I wasn't buying into the fad, and then my partner bought it, and it works so well. I love it.
Yeah, I got lucky and someone gifted it to me. So I was like, I already had a pressure cooker, but it does so many other things. I kind of traded up. So going back to the food element, what about beverages? I had mentioned that I made cider a few weeks ago, the hot cider, which I mull my own, I make my own spice mix, which I kind of like put, whole spices in, and cinnamon's one of the things, and ginger I put in there. So
yeah, that's great. Cider spiced is really good, but cider is a lot of sugar. It's, very, very sweet. So it's delicious, and you could either dilute it or, as a treat, it's a wonderful thing. And adding the warming spices is fantastic. Cloves, cinnamon, cardamom, even a black peppercorn. You can add lots of stuff. But you can also make wonderful ginger tea is so good. It's really warming. I particularly recommend it for people who run cold. It can be good if you're a little nauseous. It can be good if you have a cough or a cold. Ginger tea is really great. And you can also combine ginger and cinnamon. And then the Koreans actually add a little persimmon, but sometimes I just add lemon. And I'll make that and ice it even in the summer, because I think it's so good. It's really refreshing iced in the summer, but it has that sort of cold, warm thing going at the same time, which is kind of nice. When we're stuck in air conditioning and all of that, but we've been outside and sweat a lot, so it's really a great thing. But the warm version is really good. It's similar, like related to the idea of chai too, which is also all those warming spices, and similar. It's a great thing to drink.
And then what is rooibos? Rooibos. How do you say it?
So, I think it's pronounced rooibos, but okay, that might be wrong too. It's not the red bush. It's the African red bush tea. Rooibos is red bush, and it's a great tea. A lot of people drink green tea because they know it's supposed to be good for you. It's high in antioxidants. Well, the rooibos tea is also, but I think it's even better than green tea because it has no tannins. And tannins are...
That's why I can't drink green tea.
Excuse me?
I have acid reflux, to share with whoever watches this, but so I can never drink green tea because it just kills me. It's like horrible.
Yeah, tannins. The tannins in tea tend to affect a lot of people. Not like caffeine. It's not the same thing as caffeine. No. It's more like this drying, has this very drying quality. I wonder if that's what's causing your reflux from the green tea. It might even be something else. But
oh no, because it's the same with red wine. I've had it for a long time, so it's those. You know, when you get it, as you know, because you work with so many people, but acid reflux is one of those things that they give you a list of 100 things that can cause it, and you're like, wait a second, so you have to kind of troubleshoot your own list and figure out, these 5 things really bother me.
Yes.
You know, and then and I didn't know green tea had tannins in it until I had it, and I got exactly the same sick as red wine.
Yeah, so all the teas, all the what we call tea, black tea, green tea, white tea, oolong tea, all those teas. The oolong is smoked. Kukicha twig tea. All those teas are from the same plant, the Camellia sinensis plant.
Oh.
And so they all have tannins. They're all quite high in tannins. So the Chinese, the classical Chinese way of drinking tea, it's not exactly as complex as a Japanese tea ceremony, but they pour off they use little beautiful little teapots. They cover the leaves with hot water, and they throw away the first tea water, because that's the highest in tannins. And then they pour it again, and they keep using the same tea leaves over and over again. But the first round of tea is just too high in tannins for many, many people. I find it makes me feel like I've just dried out, like somebody just sucked all the juice out of me. And so I can drink a little bit of it. I have 1 cup of black tea in the morning because I really enjoy that. But then the rest of the day I drink rooibos, and I love rooibos tea. And rooibos does come in a lot of flavors.
I will look into it. So what about moxibustion?
Yes, moxibustion is a form of heat therapy that is used in Chinese medicine. I forgot to bring my moxipole. I'm going to leave and come back in 2 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, this is classic Instagram Live. Somebody just walked off camera. So just stay tuned. 1 more second. Sally will be right with us. She's going to get something to show us about moxibustion. And
okay,
she's back.
So this is a moxipole. This is my favorite company. This is smokeless moxa. Oh, does that look backwards? It looks backwards to me.
Oh, that's Instagram. The cameras do that. Yeah, it looks backwards.
Okay. Now I have to find my scissors because I can't get it to open, of course.
So is this for eating or for stewing? For a
No. This you burn over your skin, and I'm going to show you where. So
okay.
It's like a cigar, but I'm not going to smoke it. You light one end of it. I usually light it with a torch, a cooking torch in the office. If I'm at home, I light it on the gas stove. And you can use this over any acupuncture points in treatment, but a great way to use it for the immune system is to do a relatively well-known point, stomach 36 on the leg. It's a little bit hard to show.
Well, people can Google it because they're going to be watching this online. So
I'm going to try to show it.
Oh.
I almost did, but then I thought better of it.
No, don't show it. So what is it? Acupuncture point?
Stomach 36.
Stomach 36. You can Google it. If you get your moxa, you can circle around the smoke on it. I thought of moxibustion, I call it moxa because that's how I've referred to it. I didn't realize it was the same thing.
It is.
And I love, for some reason, I love the smell of it, and it always makes me feel good on a rough day. So there's something about that I find very healing on its own. And it's great to know that it helps the immune system. So one of the things I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to ask you is about the Shen Nung Society.
Shennong.
Oh, Shen Nung Society.
Shennong was kind of considered the first herbalist. His name is Divine Farmer, and he not only was like the first agrarian creating farming principles, but he was also said to have tasted 1,000 different plants and studied, and from tasting them, he could tell what their medicinal properties were. And so we are a professional organization of East Asian medicine practitioners, and we have a conference every year and have a newsletter every month. And basically, most of the national organizations that concerning Chinese medicine were very focused on acupuncture. And for those of us who are really devoted to the herbs, it's actually kind of often considered a more in-depth study. There's just so much literature over many, many years interpreting classical texts about how to create formulas and herbal medicine. And so there are fewer people that will like devote themselves to that study. And so we really wanted to have an organization that represented those of us who were really committed to that part of medicine. So,
Well, that's great that you're doing that for your herbalist community. It sounds really amazing. And I know that they have a great leader in you. So I just want to mention to anyone, if you want to look up Sally, you can look her up on sallyrappeport.com or shennungsociety.org to find out more. And you can DM me or Sally for any questions or further information about what either one of us do. Before I forget, is there anything else you want to share to people listening and viewing this in the future?
I can't think of anything right now. I think we like covered it. I wish I could have gone into more depth. I have lots more to say, but we're limited with our time.
Well, no, we can go. I mean, we can go over. It's kind of like a guide of 30 minutes, but we did have a little technical difficulty.
That's true.
But if there's anything you wanted to share about any of the topics we discussed or acupuncture, because we didn't really touch on acupuncture, which is also a big part of what you do.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, acupuncture can also be used to build the immune system, but in Chinese medicine, you know, really we don't think about the immune system. The immune system is a Western concept, a Western medical concept, and Chinese medicine doesn't really have anything that's exactly comparable. So we try to strengthen the body and balance the body in other kinds of ways, but not absolutely in terms of the immune system.
Interesting.
But it's really just a different frame. It's not, it's still so helpful to get your body to be stronger so it can fight disease. I mean, it's similar, but it's just different language and just a slightly different way of thinking about the body and how to support it.
Well, I will ask you one more question that's personal to me. Is just I've been really having trouble dealing with the dryness this fall. It seems to be drier than normal, either in my building or in New York itself. So what things would you recommend for people dealing with dryness besides getting a humidifier?
Yeah, so like in terms of foods, there's different ways that different people probably should deal with dryness. So for some people, you need to have more like good oils, like nut oils in your diet, not because they have the oils or butters, olive oil, those kinds of things. Those are going to lubricate you and make you feel like you're less dry. But other people, it's actually an issue of absorption. Your bodies might not be absorbing the fluid so well for various reasons. So for those people, you need to have like foods like mushrooms actually are good, because you think about mushrooms and they sort of soak up broth around them, or any other foods that kind of soak up broths and things. It's one of the reasons why rice is actually can be a really good base for a meal, because it helps you. It's absorbing the fluids. It's helping you take in fluids because it's coming in through the rice and that kind of thing.
Oh, that's terrific. Thank you. That's wonderful. So this was amazing. I learned so much, as always. Whenever I get to have time with you, it was a real honor and pleasure to have you join me in my Move Well series. Before I forget, I just want to mention we will be here live again Tuesday, December 8th. We're taking a little break for Thanksgiving with another Move Well video. The guest will be Genevieve Gordon to discuss her movement approach to life coaching and personal training. And I just want to say thank you to Sally and everyone who joined in, and
thank you, Tracie.
And please take a moment to follow Intuitive Motion Pilates on Instagram, and thank you for viewing our Move Well video series on Instagram Live. We're just going to hang out for like a little 10-second beat just to give it, because I've learned if I end the call immediately, there's kind of a delay and people get cut off. So I kind of, if people are watching this, I give it a little bit extra so that when I end it, it looks like we actually finished.
Okay.
So it's just like another few minutes. I'll just wave in 3 seconds. But thank you again for everyone joining us. And we're going to
Thank you for joining us.
Take care.